Hey everyone, it's Mike here, and this is episode number 46 of the Morning Cup of Joe show. I just got off Periscope, and I think this whole show is going to be dedicated just to answering questions. I got a boat ton of questions that I'm going to answer for you today, ranging from wholesale, private label, eBay, Amazon, the whole nine yards. So, and then some personal stuff too. So I'm really excited here, guys. It's beginning of November. Things are picking up. Sales are just they're booming for me right now, and I want to keep that going. I want to keep that flowing through. So, because this is that time of year where people are shopping online, they're looking for deals, they're looking for gifts, and I'm just going to keep feeding every platform as fast as I can, as much as I can. But doing it smart. That's the biggest thing. It's not tying up money on stuff it's going to take forever to sell. I want a lot of fast flips at this point. Don't get me wrong, if I come across some long tail stuff, I'm going to pick it up, but it's just finding out what people want. So there was a lot of great questions, again, from people on Periscope. I appreciate all of the people on Periscope asking me questions. There was something I want to talk about really quick before I jump into this, though, but it was the clothing program I just put out there. And I want to personally thank all of you guys that signed up for that. Just amazing, the feedback that has been given so far, the reviews. Fabulous. So I appreciate every one of you that's taken the time to go through that and educate yourself that way. If you're looking for more information on that, it's pig4profit.com/clothing, and you can check out the program over there. But just tremendous, guys. And we're getting ready to launch phase 2, which is the Q&A and the bonus videos. So that should be coming out pretty soon. Let's get started here today, guys. There was a question here, and I was just writing them down so fast that I apologize if I missed your name. So the first one is, what is the cutoff time for sending in items to, for Q4? Now, everybody has their own approach with this, and I recommend, you finding your approach, but I'm sending in stuff every week, right? Once Black Friday comes around, that Cyber Monday, I probably send in all the way up until the 11th or 12th of December of stuff that I'm looking to really sell before the end of the year. If I got long tail stuff, books or CDs or whatever it is that I don't think is going to sell in that time frame, I'm still sending them in. I'm just not expecting them to sell, before the end of the year. If they do, bonus, right? Here's the biggest thing you have to remember is, with FBA and you're sending these packages in, guys, there's going to be delays, okay? There's going to be some delays in shipping and checking in, so keep that in mind. If you go out and drop, $10,000 and you throw out 24 boxes on December 19th, it might not make it there in time for Christmas, guys, realistically, right? So you got to keep that in mind. It's very important because, especially if this is your first time around, you might not know that. You might think, oh, man, they'll just get there in a couple days and they'll get checked in. And that's not the case. But the biggest thing you got to remember is everybody talks about Q4. This is the time of year. This is when it's happening. Sure, but it's also Q1 too, guys. It's the January, February, especially on Amazon and on eBay as well. Those are great times of the year to sell too. So keep that in mind, right? Because like I've said since day one, I have better sales in January than I do in December, right? There's more clearance, there's more opportunities. People are getting gift cards. People are returning things and they got cash now. So there's all these opportunities. Just see what works for you, is the biggest thing. And don't get caught up in the, sending in products late to Amazon because that could really screw up your business. And again, remember, if you're getting time-sensitive items, that prices they're moving every second, guys, up and down. The competition's coming in and coming out. So just because you see room for profit right now, let's say a specific toy, doesn't mean that it'll be there in 3 days or 10 days, right? You got to really keep that in mind. And that's why I'm a big component of merchant fulfilling. And you don't hear too many people talking about this. And I've said this before. I don't know why. But I'll sit here and just merchant fulfill it. I have no problem merchant fulfilling toys, right? If I can make $600-700 a day doing it, hey, why not, right? So, you've got that opportunity there. Merchant fulfilling you should look at if you're approved to do toys, because that's really where you're going to want to merchant fulfill a lot of stuff is toys. Bars of soap and barbecue sauces. You could merchant fulfill it, but you might as well just send it in at that point. All right, so moving on forward here. I'm just gonna go right down the list, and it's kind of we're gonna go back from eBay to Amazon. We're gonna go on all these different areas here. But there was a good question here from, I think it was Quick Alliance, and it was regarding eBay fees and kind of what are they. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about that, but if you just go to pages.ebay.com /help/sell/store fees .html. You'll be able to find them all there, and I'll put a link down below. Listen, it's not that expensive to sell on eBay compared to Amazon, for sure. I mean, Amazon is a lot more expensive, and there's more fees involved when it comes to selling on Amazon. But with eBay in general, right, you got to understand, you got to first off figure out what's your business. What are you selling? What are you doing, right? And how many items do you have on there? If you only have 30 items on eBay, okay, those are your fees. There's no sense getting an eBay store. If you start getting more inventory and you want to get the store route, I'm telling you, I mean, the basic store fee, it looks like here, is $19.95 a month, but if you pay yearly, it's $15.95. I mean, that's just, where can you spend $15, $16 and get that much exposure, right? It's well worth it. The premium then is the $59 a month, or if you pay yearly, it's $50. And then the anchor is $199, and if you pay yearly, it's $179. Just again, depends on your volume. But some of the points I wanted to bring out really quick are you're with either of these store level subscriptions, you're getting 100 free auction listings. Now, I'm seeing more and more, eBay giving out 1,000 multiple times a week, multiple times a month, right? I think this past month I've gotten 3,000 free auction listings. So use that to your advantage as well. Remember that. But if you already have a store set up, right, you should understand the fees. The fixed price fees for basic is 20 cents. Premium is 10 cents. The anchor is 5 cents. When you're using auction style insertions, it's basic is 25, premium is 15, and the anchor is 10. Now, you're going to get that money back if your item sells. Okay, that's huge. Okay, so if you list 100 items and it's what, $25, right? If it sells, you're getting that money back. You're getting that insertion fee back on that auction, right? So very important to understand that. And and then again, you got the fixed price number of free insertion fees per month. The basic's 200, premium's 500, anchor's 2,000. So they really, that's really a lot of value, to be honest with you guys. There's a lot of value in that, and I would recommend anybody going with an eBay store. And that way, you can create sales. You can do all different types of stuff with eBay stores. So you can use the store mentality to have some prices a little higher up. And then you got some auctions running to feed traffic into your store. You got all that stuff right there. So look and see what fits in your business. And remember, you can always upgrade or downgrade at any given time, right? You can change it every 30 days. There's no problem with that at all, except if you're doing the yearly thing, which I think then they'll do a credit back or whatever. I don't know. You'd have to look in that. But that's it. I mean, that's pretty much pretty simple. eBay fees explained. Just you got to go out there and list. I mean, if you're sitting here going, oh, I'm worried about these eBay fees, don't worry about them. Just list. Sell things, because really once you start selling things, these fees become really minimum. You don't even really notice them, to be honest with you. Same with Amazon, right? People I think a lot of people are taken back in the beginnings because they're going, oh, it's $40 a month if I want to be the pro account. It's only $40 a month, guys. I mean, if you're talking about making thousands of dollars, if that's nothing, right? Isn't it? So, don't let that discourage you. Don't let that bother you. If you're new and, you're just starting off, that's one of the hurdles, okay? Get to that level, right? I mean, the $40, that's what, $10 a week, right? That you have to pay to Amazon. Not a big deal, not a big deal. Enjoying some cold Starbucks coffee now since came back. It's been a little chilly here in Arizona. It's raining, 59 degrees, but overall, looks like the sun's coming back out. And again, I'm just busy, guys. I am moving around, and I'm all over the place, and stuff is selling. I'm so happy. I'm making really good money, and I hope you guys are out there too. Here's a question from Deb. Where do you find all this stuff? And if you guys have been following me on YouTube for a while, you know where I'm finding this stuff at. I mean, thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets, right? Retail stores, online. I'm sniping stuff online, whether it's eBay, Etsy, to flip onto Amazon. Online arbitrage. I'm finding deals with shoes and clothing and video games, and I'm just finding opportunities where I can leverage my money, where I can take $1 into 5, 20 into 40, right? That's all I'm trying to do, and just compounding it, just keep going and going and going, and again, spending the money that I'm, that I have set up aside to do that, and it works. It's been working since the day I started. So, you just got to find out what's in your area is the biggest thing. Whether you're working thrift stores, garage sales. Spend some time on YouTube. Go into the Facebook groups. You can check out Resellers Roundtable Facebook group. It's free. You can go in there, and people are posting stuff that they find all the time, what they sell. that'll give you an idea. And what's great about the group, guys, too, is that it's scrollable or searchable too, and it goes back almost 2 years, 2.5 years. So there's a lot of information in that group that you can search and find ideas that will help you spot maybe some stuff that you maybe you've overlooked, or if you're new and you're looking for opportunities of what selling. I mean, I think every other day I post something in there what I sold. So, for 2.5 years, what is that? Let's say 600 things easily, right? And then again, the information here on YouTube, my channel, give you a little idea of how you can, what you can find in your area. I dabble with video games, toys, clothing, brand name clothing, modern clothing, vintage clothing, anything I can make a dollar on, right? I'm working little pet shops now, guys. I mean, I'm working a lot of things, and I'm kind of all over the place with that. I do books too on Amazon. Oh my gosh, phone's blowing up here, but they're gonna have to wait. All right, yeah, but that's where I'm getting the stuff from, guys. Just buying it low and selling it high. Buying it low, trying to sell it for his maximum dollar. On long-term holds on stuff that is, hey, listen, this is pretty common. I'm blowing it out, right? I'll turn my dollar into 4 or 3, whatever it is, right? And kind of built in a volume system. I think when if you're new to the game, that is the biggest problem is finding the time, and not just the time, but to create that paycheck every week, right? How do you create that paycheck? Well, you got to keep listing things. And I've just found that the easiest ways is, people buy clothing. So I have an abundance of clothing that I list. Because I also find the abundance out here. I spent $12 today on 11 pieces of clothing. That should net me about, after it's all said and done with, maybe $160. That's why I like clothing. You can't beat the ROI in clothing. You really can't, if you could source it right. Going in some of these Goodwills that are charging $9.99 for Ralph Lauren polo shirts, no. That's you're going to look at that and go, that's not worth my time. But, when you can take 10 into, 100, 10 to 200, it becomes worth your time, especially when you can find ways to list it faster, sell it faster, stuff like that. So, here's another question off the top here. It was from, looks like it was Joe, I believe. Wholesale. How do you get started with wholesale? Where do you buy from? I think the biggest thing with that is that there's all these websites out there. You can type in wholesale on Google, and you can come across Alibaba. You can come across all these wholesale sites. You can come across liquidations of skids, of returned merchandise. When I think of wholesale, and I've talked about this before, just going out there and finding a product that is not currently at the market, right? But also finding comparables, I think, is huge, because you're going to want to piggyback off those keywords. So let's take, for example, it's something as simple as iPod or iPhone 6s case or whatever, right? And you want to get into that market, even though that market's a very small window of opportunity. But this is just for example purposes only. You want to find something comparable to that, right? Something unique, something that nobody has. And when you find that opportunity, it costs more money up front for this type of stuff, guys. I mean, there are some wholesale programs you can do a minimum order of $100 or minimum of 10 quantity order. But I think it's in the beginning, for somebody who's new, it's a lot of testing and a lot of patience. And it's just not an immediate, oh my God, this is fixed, and next thing I'm driving around a Bentley, right? I mean, I just saw an infomercial the other day. I'm like, are you kidding me? Teaching people private label and wholesale, and this dude's rolling up in a Bentley. I'm rich. Look at me. I'm 23. I mean, hey, if you want to believe that you can do that and become filthy rich, God bless you, right? I'm not saying you can't get filthy rich. I'm just saying realistically here. Let's just come back down. Let's come back down to reality for a little bit here, guys. Okay, same wholesale, private label. The wholesale. I personally think the best way to start is to find locally, right? We live in the greatest country that exists, guys, and the United States here has, unfortunately, a lot of products have left this country, but there's still a lot of products that are made in this country. I would stick with those and work the Made in the USA brand and try to adapt that into your business. Don't go out there and spend $20,000, $30,000, right? You got to test these products to see if they work. So you test in small batches, try to get some exclusivity with whoever you're buying from, and throw it out there in the market, right? Again, remember, it's not just if it's a brand that nobody knows of, you have to do something. You just can't throw on Amazon and go, yep, that's how it works. We just pay a little, couple advertisements and we crushed it. in my opinion, when you're doing this wholesale stuff, especially with private label, which I'll get into in a minute, is that you have to remember you have to build this brand. You have to build this name. And right now, I mean, social media, I mean, it's pretty much free to some extent, right? With Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube and Facebook. So you got to remember when you buy these products, these wholesale products, you utilize these services to get it out there in front of people, right? Um, you know, test market it, throw a couple out there for free and see if it actually works. Because if you go down the Alibaba route and you're starting to buy kitchen utensils or whatever it may be, cheap toys, you're going to get what you pay for. If you're paying 99 cents for the item, I mean, how much is it really of value and durability? Think about it. 10 cents. Yeah, we crushed it. We did, 10,000 of these spoons and, we got them for 5 cents a piece. And we made it. We killed it. We made $1 million. Well, that's great. But from my experience with that type of products, guys, they're fads. It's the three C's: cheap Chinese crap, right? And don't get me wrong, some of that stuff sells. Some people build businesses on that. Companies like Walmart. And then they go so forth. Oriental Trading Company. These places. I mean, just mass-produced widgets of. I don't think they're of quality. So I would really look at quality when it comes to wholesale. And again, look at the market. You have to research. You just can't make a whim decision and say, I'm buying this right now. Yep, remove him. You got to educate yourself with this and understand what the market's doing, right? Is your product fit for Amazon or is it fit for eBay? There's a lot more thought process that goes into wholesale and private label when you're getting started. There's just not just, buy this from Alibaba. It ships here in 45 days and life's good. When they didn't tell you, now there's customs fees, there's all these importation fees, and next thing you know, you're stuck with 1,000 freaking toothpastes, DD Mao toothpaste that you thought you was for some crazy idea. You thought, oh man, I'll compete with Crest. You're not Crest. You know what I mean? You're not Colgate, man. Yeah, but it's got minty gummy bears in it, Mike. I don't care what the toothpaste has. You know what I'm saying? But I think you got to do your homework. And you have to go out there and actually spend some time researching. That's the biggest point I'm trying to get to you guys, is researching to see if there is a gap in the market and if there is somewhat of a demand for this product. Now, into the private label sector of it, I believe private label is all funded through branding and marketing. So, that goes to creating your image, your logo, right? Creating your website, right? Creating a marketing plan, advertising. You have to advertise your product, right? And there's lots of ways to do that, guys. Lots of opportunity. Remember, Google's your friend, okay? But again, when it comes to private label and wholesale, you got to do some research. You've got to do some research. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm always thinking of crazy ideas. Oh man, that would be great for a product, right? And I get all excited. I start writing it all down. I start doing the research, and then I just look at it and go, "This isn't viable. This just can't happen." Or when you start getting quotes on products and stuff like that, it just And don't get me wrong. You'll go through 100 ideas and products that you're looking at just to find one that actually works. Because I think if you are going that route of the wholesale, or especially the private label, you want something that's durable and stable. You want stability. That you just want to be able to go, hey, I crushed it, and now we're moving on to the next product. I think it's finding that stable product and finding that brand, building that brand. So here's what I would do, right? If you're really into that private label, wholesale, right? Write down your brand. Get a piece of paper. Write down the brand. This is my brand, and this is the products that I want, and create a subcategory of products. Then go find those products, because don't get me wrong, you can hit a home run with just one product that just takes off, and next thing you know, it's on Oprah or the morning shows or wherever these things are, whatever's popular these days. A widget that's on the commercial at halftime at football. I don't know, but all those, they take time and they take money. They take time and money, and anything's possible, guys. Just look into it and be careful, right? Be careful on some of these 10, 20,000 hour courses that are out there for this stuff. I'm not saying that these courses are bad. I'm just saying that go out there and just make sure, if you're going to get educated with that and you're going to spend money out of your pocket, to make sure these people really know what they're talking about, and it's just not this commercial you saw on Facebook, because there's a lot of that going on out there. And I've talked to a couple of these people, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous, but I'm not here to bash anybody's paid product or whatever it is. just all I can tell you is the reality. I mean, that's what this channel was built on me just coming on here, speaking my mind, and telling you, what I think is the truth. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, those are great opportunities. Wholesale, private label. If you're new to reselling, I think you should dabble in other things. I think you need to build a bankroll, unless you got the silver spoon in your mouth and daddy's like, yeah, son, here's $50,000. Let's go get you that private label product. Yeah, then go ahead, use that. Take the money and go and dabble with it. And if you lose it, daddy will give you another $50,000, right? But if you're kind of frugal at this point, or your income is not where it needs to be, that should be the furthest thing from your mind. Your first response should be, I need to make money now. I need to start bankrolling, right? And working the thrift, the garage sales, all that type of stuff to get that income. And then, not saying keep it out of your back of your mind, like never think about it. Yeah, sure. If you get ideas, write them down for the future, right? But I wouldn't think if you got $35 in your pocket right now going, yeah, I'm gonna do wholesale next year. No, come on, you're not. $35 isn't gonna cut it, right? Talking to you thousands, guys. So that's the whole point there with the wholesale and the private label. Hopefully, I've touched enough topics on that to be dangerous with it, but I wanted to answer that there. Here's another good question. How did I get started reselling? Well, I mean, it was just out of a hobby, honestly. I worked full time, and I had my own company, and I was a big baseball card collector as a kid, so had all these cards, and so I sold my first batch of cards when I was like 9 or 10. I'm like, man, there's money in this, right? Freaking money. And I just kept collecting them over time, and then selling some here and there. And then when eBay first popped out in the scene, was it 98 or 97? I don't even remember, so long ago. But I started looking at there, and I'm like, man, I was looking as a buyer first, because I was like, oh my God, this is a pretty good deal on this mantle card. Especially, remember, these were auctions, so it was let it ride. And then so I was buying a lot of cards, a lot of 50s, 60s tops baseball cards, and building my collection up. And then while I was doing that, I'm kind of like, man, I've got a hoard of cards here, man. Let's see if this eBay works. And that's what I did. I just started throwing all these cards to auction, and it was working tremendously. I made a lot of money, and I did that for a long period of time. And then things didn't turn out the way with this company. I had I had 2 investors in the company, and I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I didn't own enough shares. I was at 49%, which was I knew it was a problem when I signed the paperwork. Because when you're in these businesses, and even though they're your best friends now, they could be your enemy later, man. I mean, just people. It's hard to trust people. Let's put it that way. But anyway, I ended up losing everything from that, and they took my house, my car. It was a nightmare. It was a complete nightmare, and I had a non-compete clause that I couldn't go work in this industry. So here it was. I built this $1 million company, and I couldn't go and call my customers. I was screwed. It was screwed, and it still stings to this day. I mean, it does. It's like, oh my God, where would I have been now if that thing would have kept it moving? But it all worked out the same structure. So there I was stuck. Needed money, and just was selling all these baseball cards. We sold a good lick of them. That kept us busy for about a month or two, in terms of paying all the bills. And then I was really coming to the end of the collection of all these cards, and I was like, I got to do something. So I started looking around throughout my house, and I'm like, what else can I sell? And then spending countless hours at night on eBay trying to figure out what sells, what is it out there. And I remember going through my closet, and I pulled out some old concert shirts, and I was like, ooh, these are cool. Went to throw one on my big freaking fat belly, my beer belly, and I'm like, dude, this doesn't fit. I guess we could sell it. That's cool. So I started flipping them, and I'm like, dude, these things are selling. Well, then I'm looking really more, again, like I said, I was up every night. I mean, I wouldn't sleep. I think back then I maybe slept 3 hours, and that's when my kids were a lot younger, babies really. And I remember having my daughter in my lap, just sitting there. She's crying. I'm rocking her back and forth, and I'm researching on eBay what sells. Then I remember seeing, I saw a store one time, and I'm like, how does this guy or woman have all of these name brand clothing, right? And I was like, this is amazing, man. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? And again, remember at the time, there was no information out there to find any of this information, man, to like where people were sourcing from. Excuse me. So I said, okay, I started to go to the garage sales, looking around, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to these thrift stores. And I'm like, okay. And I'm walking around. And I remember the first time, because I've never really been. I've been in them before, but I just. I would have known then what I know now. I mean, it was like, geez. I mean, I should have been shopping there when I was like 7. I just thought it was beneath me, to be honest with you. But yeah, now I remember I went there the first time and I was walking around like, this place is dirty. Who the hell comes in here and buys this stuff? But I started looking through the clothing rack, and I remember I walked around the store, got a grasp for what was abundant, and then I went back home and I started looking up and just trying to understand what was selling. And I remember I came back the next day, I went over there and I grabbed I grabbed all the Ralph Lauren stuff. I was grabbing sports gear. I mean, back then it was stuff was like 5-10 cents. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then there's fill bag sales at Salvation Army. Oh my goodness. I mean, we would fill up my cars were just filled. It was amazing. But anyway, but that's what got me into it. I just started going there and these thrift stores, and I realized that was the magic, right? I can always find the stuff down the road and sell it online. Pay 10 cents for it, sell for 30. And back then, man, just brands like Ralph Lauren, Nautica, people were spending up for them. Calvin Klein, I remember, was huge. Hugo Boss. It was great. And but again, once that would happen, I started getting comfortable. I was buying a lot of stuff and accumulated a lot of stuff, a lot of clothing. Couldn't list it fast enough, it seemed like, and needed some help. And just kind of went down that whole road. Well, that whole road happened years and years and years, and I started looking at other products, toys, video games. I mean, anything that was out there. And we decided at one point we had to scale up somehow. We had too much stuff in our house, and money was great. And I figured, you know what, we got to get this warehouse. I thought that was the ultimate solution to it all. The warehouse. Oh man, the warehouse. I get it. And it's just, I'll be freaking rich. And it was an experience for sure. We had a couple employees in there. I think at the height, maybe 5, 4, I don't remember. But we worked I worked late hours there, 12, 14 hours a day, and sometimes I'd sleep in there. But our business kind of changed at that point because we were getting a lot of people that were coming in, selling us stuff. And that was great because I could say yes or no and look it up online, like kind of like a pawn shop kind of, and say, oh yeah, I'll give you $10 for that. I'll sell it for 50 really quick. Then it evolves to everything, right? I was in the furniture, then I was doing the flea markets. I mean, I was everywhere. I was doing storage auctions. I mean, I was just everywhere where I thought I could make money, and that's where I'm at today. I mean, we moved from Chicago. I closed down my shop, and we came out here. And I can't complain. I mean, the weather is beautiful out here. There's abundance of stuff for me to find. I'm always finding something. And if I'm not finding it locally, I just go online on eBay or go around to my designated bookmark places I can snipe online or do some online arbitrage, and I'm good, right? I'm comfortable with my lifestyle. I understand what I have to do to make a buck, how to support my family, and that's what I'm doing. And, I'll keep talking to the door shuts on me, or they turn off my camera, or they shut down my YouTube about reselling. And I'm going to talk about it until the day it just becomes where it's just not feasible anymore. And I'm not saying that day is coming. I don't think it'll ever come, but the secondhand market is amazing, guys. It truly is. So, yeah, that's my quick story, which I know probably took up 10 minutes, but I know I've probably talked about it before, but it's good to hear somebody's story about that. And I've just been doing this for so long, and it's a second nature to me, and it's funny because I talk to people all the time, and it's like, man, dude, you have a story for everything. I'm like, I kind of do, or an experience for everything. And I'm not saying I have all the answers to all the questions out there. I've just been around the block, and I look at every opportunity. I mean, if you see me in a thrift store, I'm looking at every little nook and cranny for something, because each little sector has something that could be valuable there, so that I could flip. Same goes to garage sales. I'm looking at every little thing, and I'm asking the questions. Where's the video games at? Got any video games in the house? Oh yeah, my kid has them, but they're packed away. Well, here's my phone number. Why don't you call me when you find that box, and we'll work out a deal. It's just nonstop. All right, so that's how I got started. Again, I think this is the barrier to entry, guys, to e-commerce, to getting up to the next level, starting your own e-commerce website, to going into private label, to going into business really is through reselling. It's easy to do. You can find this stuff everywhere, and you just have to have the will and the drive and say, this, I can make this happen. And if you can take this away from me and say, hey, if Mike can do it, this gap-toothed freaking dude that just comes on YouTube blabbing about stuff, then you can do it. And that's so true. I consider myself, and that's why the Morning Cup of Joe show is called the Morning Cup of Joe. All right, got my cup of Joe, but I'm just an average Joe. There's nothing special to what I do, other than experience tells me this, and that's it. Anybody could do this, and you can put thousands in your pockets, guys. If you're part-time, you can put an extra 3 hours in your pocket this week. So I'd recommend to anybody out there that has that drive and that passion to do that, especially if you have a family, because, where do you want to go do? Oh, honey, I got to get a part-time job. We're just not cutting it. Those you can go get that part-time job and waste time sitting over there at Arby's carving those roast beef sandwiches. But, if you spent your time more wisely, you could probably, what you'd make in 20 hours, you could probably do in one night's worth of work on eBay or Amazon. So I think it's a viable option out there. I think it's the, again, like I said, it's the entry level to bigger things. And you never know where this channel will go. I mean, one day I might be buying yachts. I doubt it, but you never know, man. So yeah, that was a great question there. What is some of the weirdest stuff I've sold? I mean, nothing crazy. Nothing like an old sock or a dead carcass. Nothing that freaking crazy. But I sold rocks, just rocks I found. Dirt. I've sold some dirt from Arizona. I've sold seeds. If you guys know me, I do a lot of gardening. I'm big with like landscaping. I like doing that stuff. It's relaxing to me. So I'm gonna try to squeeze every penny out of those little freaking plants when they drop their seeds, right? So yeah, stuff like that. It's something as stupid as this. Like I remember selling. That was like one of my biggest sellers at the flea market when I used to do them was wires, just random cabling, right? It just seemed like they'd sell. I'd throw them in a box, and the guy'd be like, "How much for the box?" I'm like, "Dude, $5." But I remember selling, God, hundreds of those. Just random wires and cords and cables. But I don't think I have anything that's weird. That's like, oh my gosh, that's bizarre. Like a toenail clipping from Elvis. But I just the dirt out here was kind of a shock. I wouldn't think people would buy Arizona desert dirt, but they do. I mean, then one guy I was selling a bunch to. He's like, yeah, dude, I used to live in Arizona, and I wanted to have the dirt to put in my aquarium, and he was all stoked. And there's just opportunities, guys, out there. I mean, just gotta look at what is out there, and from pallet furniture, there's a lot of that retro like repurposing going on right now, and using what's around us to to make money or survive. A lot of the herbal stuff's huge right now, and just look into those things. Plants. I mean, you'd be surprised what even some rocks sell for. Strange old rocks or cactuses. It's nuts. But that's that weirdest stuff I've sold. Nothing crazy. I've never sold a three-legged cow. You know what I mean? Okay. There was a question here about sales rank. I think it's I made a video about it, and I think that's, if you just go on to my channel and look for the sales rank video, it'd be a lot quicker for you to find that information out than me talking about it. But obviously the lower the rank, the faster it sells, right? The higher the rank, the longer it's going to take. Okay, and then you got to find the happy medium. Where are you comfortable at buying? And then you got to look at the categories. Is a 2 million rank book good on Amazon? Sure, why not? Obviously a 10,000 rank book is better. You're going to sell more, but maybe that 2 million rank book is you got for $3 and it's worth 180. I'm swinging on that. I'll take my $3 investment and see what pans out. I sell a lot of crazy books like that, guys. I've 10 million rank books. I wouldn't be afraid of the rank on books. But don't think, I hear a lot of these booksellers out there. Yeah, we're netting about 400K a week, and it's like, they're books. Now, yeah, the more you send in, the more money you're going to make, sure. But historically, if you're buying books that are over, a million rank, you got to remember these things aren't going to sell every day, but sometimes they do. And if you have enough volume of them over there, yeah, you can make some money. But looking at electronics, rank 10, yeah, once it gets into that warehouse, it's going to sell. There's no doubt about it. Same with toys. Those lower ranks like that or grocery, it's just going to sell. It should be gone within 2 days at that rank. I mean, a lot of times it just goes right pending, boom, and you're like, whoa, cool. I need to find more. But yeah, again, just a quick summary of that. Go watch the video that I get into detail about that. Look at remember, the lower the number, faster it sells. The higher the number, the longer it sells. With no rank, depends on the category, but it's something maybe you should look at, right? And also too, with these ranks, when you go and find a product that's not on Amazon, it's not going to have a rank, right? So I think to really test the ranking system, to really get a clear understanding for it, this is how I did it. Is I just would create my own listings and I'd watch what that rank would do once it's sold. Oh man, I just sold that freaking toy in toys and sold one, and it went down to 160,000 K in toys. Okay, that gives me an idea. Oh, now I sold another one. Now it's down to 80,000. And you start to get a gauge for what these things do. But yeah, that's what I would do. And I know there's websites you can Google. Just go to Google and type in sales rank, how to understand it, what's the deal with that, and that should get you to where you need to be. There was another great question: stock images versus actual images. And this is a really good question. And it's kind of it depends, really, if you think about it. Me personally, if the item is new, right, and I have a stock image, that's what I'm using. That's what I'm using, right? Now, can be some legalities with that. There could be somebody, you're stealing somebody else's photo, sure, right? I'm not encouraging you to do that, but I'm just saying that, if you buy something online from Adidas.com, let's say, for example, on a pair of shoes, and, you can download the photos. See, a lot of these companies are getting smarter where you can't even download the photos because they just don't want it shared out there. But I do from time to time. I'll grab the photos and use the stock photos, sure, right? But if it's used, no. I'm not using the stock photos on Amazon. Like, for example, if it's used and Amazon already has a stock photo or the main photo, whatever it is, I'm not going to upload for a used item a photograph that's stock on a used item. Nope, I'll just take the time. I'm pretty clever. I think my photos look pretty nice in a white background, stuff like that, where it looks presentable and people can get an actually idea of exactly what that is and the condition it is in. Now, for eBay, right, there's two different sides of this coin, right? Let's take, for example, DVDs or anything with a barcode, right, on eBay. You go to eBay and you're getting ready to list your item, and then once you add, this is the crazy part, is once you list that item and you're going through that process, eBay automatically puts in that stock photo. So you have to delete it, or you can keep it in there. Now, from my experience, if it's new, I will. If it's used, I use my own photo. But if you start looking at DVDs or CDs and you're just like, hey, you know what? Everybody else is doing the stock image, then do it. Just again, remember, it's all about the description, the condition notes, right? Whether it's Amazon or eBay, and just describing it as best as you can. Me personally, like I said, I like to, for used items, I like to show the physical product, right? That way there's no letdowns, no disappointment when the customer gets it. Just because you describe it well doesn't mean that the customer's going to be satisfied with it, right? Everybody's got condition grading notes, and everybody grades it differently. So that's something to really consider. Using those stock images on eBay, let's say on DVDs that are used, gosh, you can list hundreds in an hour, right? No doubt about it. Same with remotes and electronics. I mean, you can use those, but see if it works for your business. I'm just telling you what works for me. Again, if it's new, I'm using the stock image if I can. If there's a lot of times I buy new items that I get online that I can't use the photos, so I have to do my own photo, and I have no problem doing that. Same thing with finding products that are not on Amazon, and I buy them in the store, whether it's a dollar store or Target or CVS. I'm really creating that stock photo, all right, that others are going to use. And I haven't come across too many people ripping me off. I had some T-shirt lines that people stole my designs that I had to have my attorney, send them a letter and cease and desist. But other than that, no, I haven't had any major issues. People using my my N64 pictures or my NES Mario pictures. It is what it is. But overall, I think it's a great subject matter and great question. Could probably be broken down. We could talk about it probably for a whole hour. of the pros and cons for stock images versus actual images. Again, for me, it's just I prefer if it's used. I'm using my own photograph. We got technology now, guys, where it's instantaneously. Whether it's an iPad or iPhone, just snap a photo, boom, crop it, throw it on eBay, you're done. This is an extra little step you have to do compared to just using that stock image. But again, see what works for you. If you're getting complaints on things and returns or negatives, that's when you should say, this isn't working here. I need to stop with the stock photos. Okay, because I've seen some eBay stores where it's all used stuff, but the photos are all stock. It looks freaking legit, and the feedback is just horrendous. That fast track approach to volume and giving people these false images is, I don't think, it's moral, to be honest with you. And then obviously, some of the stores I've seen like that, it's obvious, that the customers aren't happy with it either. I've seen a lot with those liquidation buyers where they're buying the pallets and skids. They'll throw up there stock photos from Home Depot and Menards of some of this tooling, and then it's used, and then you see the complaints, see the negatives. Oh man, it's doesn't look like the photo. This one's beat up. People. I'm not saying people are stupid, but e-commerce land, people are in a hurry to buy. They make up their mind. Oh, here it is, boom, and they click it, right? And then when the package arrives and it's not what they thought it would be, they're gonna get upset. But if they go back then and say, is this what I bought? And they go back to, let's say, one of my listings where it's an actual photo, they can't bitch that much because there it was, right? But if it was a stock photo of an iPhone and it looked brand new, it was cool, but I said used, it may have some scratches, blah, 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 and it comes back and it's like half cracked or whatever, issues, try to avoid the issues, I guess is the biggest point out of that, the biggest takeaway is avoid the confrontations, avoid the misunderstandings, avoid the possible customer throwing a fit. You don't want customers throwing fits. I mean, it's going to happen over and over, but you can't please everybody. But just try to go list your items again, spell it all out, have good photos. That's it, right? That's all you have to do. Just spell it out for them, and you should be good. All right, so another question we had was, this was an interesting one. I think it was from Get My Auctions. He's experiencing right now, or she, they're sending in a lot of stuff and it's eating up their disbursement. And what do you do about that? Well, I mean, you're sending more in than what you have in your available Amazon balance, right? So it's eating that up. Now, if you're going through this cycle where you're sending it every week and you're not getting any payouts, that'll happen when you first start sending stuff over there, right? So understand that it's going to eat up your profits in there. But this stuff needs to be selling too. If you just keep sending in long tail, and you're like, man, I haven't got paid in 6 months, that's an issue, Or you're like, hey, man, I spent all this time sending in all these books, all right, and there's nothing to show even after 60 days. You need to look at your system. You need to look and see if what you're doing is making sense because you're losing money, right? You've got too much product over at Amazon that's just not flipping fast enough for you. So you may need to change your approach or adapt and try to find other products that when you're throwing in those boxes to go to Amazon, that they're fast flips, that you're guaranteed money, right? I remember when we sent out our first big, huge book batch, it was probably, I don't know how many books it was, 2,000, right? And the first 2 months, we were sending them in. Stuff was selling. Don't get me wrong. Stuff was selling, moving, but our disbursements weren't that big because we kept sending in volumes of this stuff, man, box after box. But over time, it worked out pretty well. And once I started throwing other stuff to the wind with it, it worked out. But yeah, I think that's a common problem you're going to see with when you're sending in product out there. I mean, it doesn't cost much to send these boxes, guys. I mean, you can't ship it any cheaper. You can't ship it. I just shipped a 37-pound box to Phoenix, $488 for $5. I mean, that's ridiculous. Even if I could have dropped it off there and drove it over there, it would still be cheaper just to let UPS do it with Amazon's rate. So you're getting a deal on the shipping. Again, the biggest problem with the weights with those books. I mean, you're going to be paying what, $30 to 20 to 50, 60 cents a book in freight cost, give or take. Maybe that might be high. But yeah, it could be a huge burden if you're getting the stuff that just isn't flipping, and it can eat up your profits. And that's something that should be a warning signal to you right there, and say, oh, wait a minute, hold on, I'm just spinning my wheels here. Where I'm putting in all this work to box up all this stuff, and it's been 2-3 months now, and I'm not seeing a return. These guys online are full of crap, and I'm not saying I'm full of crap. I'm just saying that it could happen if you're just sending in that type of stuff that's not moving that fast, or your stuff that's selling is getting eaten up with how much stuff you're shipping there, and that could be a major issue. And I think you need to address that ASAP and figure out, okay, is this stuff, am I just sending in way too much stuff and it's just not selling fast enough, or is the stuff I'm sending in it's not worthy of being sent there? I mean, sending in 700 Disney VHS tapes, yeah, you're not gonna see a positive sign of that unless you have some rare ones in there, right? Because they're pennies. If you're selling penny book stuff, super long tail stuff, yeah, you're not going to see that immediate, burst of cash, and it's going to be eaten up. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I sell quite a bit of books. I'm not a hardcore bookseller, and I don't have 100,000 books in my inventory, but I do have books over there, and they sell when they sell, and some books I have over in inventory right now. I mean, if it sells, I'm going to get 20 cents, because why? I just want to clear it out. I just want to get rid of it. But if all I sent in were 20-cent profit books, yeah, my payouts aren't going to look that pretty. It's definitely eat up my disbursement. So keep that in mind. Here was another question. What was this one? Okay, answered that one. Okay, retail arbitrage for Q4. I'm actually putting a video out. Hopefully, I'm going to get to it today, maybe tomorrow, and I'll have it out soon on YouTube. It's going to be some tips for Q4, and some tips I think will help you guys that are new to it. That maybe you can pick up some tips and tricks that has helped me, and we'll go from there with that. But it's all related to Q4, Amazon, retail arbitrage, Black Friday, all the stuff that people are wanting to know. So look for that pretty soon on the channel here. I'm gonna end it with this last one, guys, because I thought this was just a really interesting question, and it was also something I struggle with. Okay, and that is balancing it all, family and work, right? I'm not an expert. I don't even know if I can say that I am balancing it correctly, to be honest with you. I'm a workaholic, and I want more money, and so yeah, there are times, man, I'm just, from the time I wake up till 11 o'clock at night, and everybody's sleeping, and I might have said 20 words to people. I have days like that where I'm just in the zone, but it's something I've been struggling with. And my kids are older now, and they're kind of doing their thing like that. But I think it's important that we have set times and set dinner together, and maybe doing something fun, and watching a movie or something like that. Because time flies by. I mean, my kids are already, 14. Oh my gosh, 14 years. And we went last year to Disneyland, which was great, which was real fun, and got to spend some time together. But it's hard. I'll be honest, it's hard to balance it all, and a marriage too, and all that stuff like that. But I think I'm getting better at that. That's something you probably have to ask Kim. She could probably go on an hour about it and be like, yeah, blah 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 blah. But it's definitely difficult, and if you have a spouse that doesn't understand what you're doing and understand the business, it could be even more difficult for you, right? Where you're just like, oh my God, I've got to get this done, and I can't go to Billy's baseball game today, or something of that nature. Because I've had that happen, where I couldn't go to some of these events and some of these school functions because I just needed to get stuff done, or there was a money crunch, and I needed that time to happen. Now, I don't have much of that. If we know something's coming up, I'll schedule it. That's what I'm doing. But in the past, I just couldn't do it. I felt bad. I went to 95% of their stuff, but I got to also make sure that there's a roof on the house, the bills are getting paid, the electric's staying on, the water's staying warm. all that stuff too. And obviously, family does come first. So, living in a house and making sure your car is all working correctly. I'll do whatever it takes to freaking survive, and for us to keep this lifestyle we have. And it's not extravagant, I mean, it's basic. We need food, housing, and electrical, and that's in a car, right? And then obviously, all the other stuff in between. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the one person to talk about that and give you tips on how I do that, because I'm still working with it, trying to balance it all together. I'll be honest. I mean, it'd be a good topic for a show to get some feedback going back and forth, and some some tips, and get you thinking differently. Definitely, for sure. But for me right now, I'm busting my butt. I'll be almost 40 years old, and I want to relax at some point, but at the same time, I need to get stuff selling. So appreciate all you guys hanging in there today with me, watching this and checking it out here on YouTube. If you do like these type of videos, show me that you do. Just leave a comment down below. I do read all the comments. Also hit the like button. That like button tells me that keep making more of these videos, Mike. And that it encourages me to make them. If I don't start seeing some of these likes and stuff like that, I say, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll spend my time over here rather than coming on YouTube and maybe helping you through an hour of listing, or giving you some tips and tricks. I mean, I'm just looking, for some feedback. That's pretty simple. So if you did enjoy this, hit the like button. Maybe share it with a friend. Share it on Facebook. That would be super cool. Especially to somebody who's struggling right now. This channel goes deep, guys. And then not only that, the Resellers Roundtable Facebook group, my Morning Cup of Joe Facebook page. I mean, you can get a fast track to the education here by just going through all this information. But if you know somebody out there who's struggling and they're having a hard time keeping ends, meeting, or keeping the lights on, it takes a couple good licks every month, man, and you can have $500 to $1,000 extra to pay for your problems, right? Or to go for money towards a car or a house. So, again, thanks, guys. I appreciate all you guys watching. Appreciate all of you guys for subscribe to me here on YouTube. Everybody in the Resellers Roundtable, just having a blast, man. Just living life, enjoying it, making money, staying busy. I go out there, package up some stuff today, and move forward. So, appreciate you guys watching again. Till next time, I'm out of here. Peace.